welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us. You're listening to Ready, Set, Sold. I'm your host, Bryan Vogt. And just so you know, I left you with how fast should negotiations take as far as selling your home. So we've done all those things we talked about in the last segment about getting it ready to go, ready for market, getting it priced right, and now you have an offer that comes in. Now it comes the timing situation. And just so you know, every situation, I've not seen any house, any deal be the same. There is no sameness to it. Every situation is different. Every house is different. How long has it been on the market when this offer came in? How many showings did you have? How frequent were the showings? Did they come at once and all of a sudden now 2 weeks later is when you get to the next showing which presents an offer? Did you have one showing 1 week and now it's the fourth week and now you got one more showing that presents an offer? There's so many factors that you and your agent need to look at. So anyone to try and tell you, and especially me, trying to tell you, well, what's right and what's wrong, as far as that goes, it's almost impossible. It's situational. What's going on with you as a seller? Where are your needs at? What do you need to accomplish? Where you're at? Building a new home. Whatever those situations are, there's just so many factors. With that said, the one thing I want to talk about, as I mentioned earlier, it used to be, in fact, when I came into the business some 16 years ago, the standard was 24 hours as far as the response time. So let's say a buyer wrote an offer and you, the seller, had 24 hours to respond. Well, understand that was, in today's technology, a different world we live in. Many people still didn't have cell phones. It's hard to believe, but they didn't. They definitely, email and those type of things weren't available on it. And also that everything was done in paper. And what I mean by that, if you had a buyer look at your house, let's say at 6 or 6:30 that night, and they wanted to put an offer on, they went back with the agent, they went back to the office. Usually it was handwritten out. Everything was handwritten out, which took a lot more time. And all of a sudden now they have the offer. And now they had to take that offer, because we had to work with originals, and we had to drive it all the way to the listing office that evening. The listing agent then had to call the seller and say, hey, we have an offer. When can we meet? Well, now it's 9 or 9:30. Usually that wasn't too convenient. Sometimes it was, but most times it wasn't. And so that would be the next day. So the next day, if you were lucky, if they worked in town, maybe you could meet them both at lunch, but many times that was going to be the next evening to even look at the offer and make a decision. So now it's 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, and now at 24 hours, which was given, let's just say at 9 o'clock, they're almost under the gun to make a decision. If they accepted it, great. Then it had to be, then life was good. Everybody's working that direction. If there was a counteroffer, it was another 24 hours. So it physically wasn't possible to get the deals together any sooner. The trouble is that 24-hour window too often is being used now from agents in today's market. Today's market, it is digital. Everything is done practically from email. It is rare that we have what we call paper anymore. It's electronic signatures, and that's changed probably more dramatically in the last 2 to 3 years. So now you have a situation where, and just to kind of give you an example, buyer saw the house at 6 o'clock, goes back, they go to McDonald's because the buyer's agent has an iPad, they fill out the documentation, they do the email, and by 6:30, that email and that offer is sitting in front of the seller. The seller immediately gets on the phone, says, hey, we have an offer, sends it over to him. And before they left the McDonald's, it was a great offer, they had a house, and the sellers had a house sold and was moving forward in 15 minutes. I'm saying it happens every time in 15 minutes, but I'm saying that's how quickly things are moving. The problem is when you're dealing with 24 hours, you're using antiquated ways of being able to service your client. You may have 24 hours, that might make sense. It's not saying it never should happen, But remember, when you're putting a deal together, especially the buyer side, and most sellers are going to become buyers, you want to shorten that period of time. You want to be pushing that deal. So now, let's say you find a house on a Thursday at 6 o'clock. Hey, 10 o'clock tonight, time's up. Here's my offer. Either put up or not put up. Where are you at? Seller gives a response back. Are they accept it? Buyer, or the seller sends a counter back. The buyer takes it. Boom, done. Everybody sleeps well at night. We had a deal together. The reason why this can be working against you, especially the buyers, depending on your market area, I'll give you another example. That buyer's agent told the buyer to take 24 hours on another situation. It was at 6 o'clock. So they gave 6 o'clock to that evening for that seller to respond. Well, 2 more showings happened that day. And guess what? Another offer came up. So now, all of a sudden, the worm has turned. And now you, as that buyer that put the first offer in, and first one in does not win, it's best and highest. In this situation, now you as a buyer are now competing against another buyer. You're not negotiating with the seller. And that's how it can cost you more money to buy a particular house, that timing thing. So again, if you know there's showings, and your agent knows their showings, and they can simply find that out by just calling, all they need to do is reduce that time. So if you have the showings at 11, or even do it that night, but make sure you get it before that first showing happens. Make them respond. Your agent should be pushing the deal. You're trying to get you that house. Because remember, this is email, and most people use their cell phones or their smartphones. Many times they are not even in the same location when they're putting these deals together. Okay, so understand the technology has changed that. If it's 24 hours, if there's certain reasons why that has to happen, that's fine. Some people don't have computers. Some people don't have access. Elderly people sometimes, not always. That's doesn't always have to be that way. There's some elderly people who do very, very well with email and technology, but that could be the situation that could delay it some, but it probably even then isn't going to be 24 hours. So that's what you want to keep in mind. That's what's so important about getting that done. The other part about that, if you're the seller, you may not want to drag something out. And the reason being is if you're in the Metro East, there's the military buyers. And a situation happened not too long ago. The military buyers, again, they've got maybe 3 days, 2 days. They have to get a house. They don't have time to wait. And in this situation, I don't know if it was a Tuesday night or whatever, they put the offer in. They asked for a response back. They did give 24 hours. Well, the seller liked the offer, but thought maybe something might better be coming down the road. That's okay. There was nothing scheduled. Could happen. But it didn't. New house came onto the market. Houses come on the market every day. Military buyer got a little frustrated, thought they would at least get a response. They appreciated they gave them until 6, but they thought they would get a response faster. They saw another house. It met their needs even better than the first house. What'd they do? They put an offer in. They rescinded. And you can do this. Most people don't know this, but you can rescind an offer. And that's what they did. They rescinded the offer. And it's a very simple process. Doesn't happen often, but they rescinded the offer to the seller. It's a phone call and an email saying, hey, we're out. We're moving on. And it's over. And they bought the other house while leaving the seller sitting there. You don't want that to happen either. So again, doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. You want to tighten those up as much as possible. In the next section, we're going to be talking about what people probably fear the most, as I said before, and that is the low ball offer. What's some strategies? What are some things you can do to work around that? And you can get my book, Ready, Set, Sold, 12 Proven Steps, at readysetsold.org, not .com. Get it today. Get it this morning. Hey, read a section at a time. It's a quick read. Listen to Bryan Vogt. I'll see you on the other side.